Cool.
All right, we're on. All right, guys, welcome to the show Hot Seat. I'm excited. This is good stuff. What do you mean not on time, Eric? I'm on time. Punk ass. So again, this is my first official one, so I'm excited. We got Steve from Not Another Cooking Show on. Steve, say hi to the world. That's your cue, Steve.
You were just breaking up for like 30 seconds.
This stupid thing. Just say hi to the world. Hey, howdy. All right.
How's everyone doing?
Cool. So, like I say, I'm gonna try to keep this as the same kind of flow as Hobo did, but interject my own little smile and personality in there. Let's see here. Let me talk about who's in the chat. Who's in the chat? We got Hobo's in the chat, Kirby's in the chat, Johnny from Texas Style Barbecue Cuisine, Eric from Roundhouse Ranch, Southern Smoke Boss, how you doing? Christy's Cooking Channel, hey girl. Meathead's in there, Jay Wade's in there, Lewis, LT. Wow, we got a lot of people on right now. Robert Roy, Marion, how you guys doing? Jay from Leprechaun TV, Cooking with Webby, and Gordo Ramsey, and Brenda Belling Powell. All right. Well, let's get started. We got Kent as the co-host tonight because Scott from In From the Grill is still having dental work done. So he's on there. What up, AB? I see you in there. So right now, Kent's going to help out with questions in the chat, and he'll let me know if I need to stop talking or talk more. So we got that going.
Shut up.
Mute yourself, Kent.
All right.
Excellent intro.
I'm trying. Everybody in the chat, can you hear us okay? Everything's good? You can see us? You got my beautiful mug on there? We good? Gotta slow down a little bit. I'm getting too excited there, Steve. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous being that this is my first time. I don't have Chris holding my hand through this, but it's gonna be a good time. So we got Steve from Not Another Cooking Show in. Excited to have you on. I really appreciate you coming on. I think you got an interesting story. I love what you do on your channel, your production, your cinematography, your cooking is just exceptional. So it's just freaking awesome. If you guys have not subbed to Steve yet, the link is in the description of this actual YouTube deal, and go in there and subscribe to him. And if you haven't subscribed to Kent, subscribe to Kent too. And if you haven't subscribed to me yet, what the hell is your problem? Get over there and push that sub button. All right.
People, make sure you subscribe, please.
Yeah, do it. We're trying to grow here. But it looks like most people in the chat are all YouTubers, so they all understand the plight that we go through to grow our channels. So, so that's it, Steve. I'm gonna just go ahead and jump in unless you wanna, take a minute, tell us about yourself, where you come from, all that stuff, your likes, your dislikes.
I'm Steve. You all know me. I'm from New York. Went to school at Fairfield. After that, worked in advertising. Kind of saw that was dying a slow death. So I got out of that, fell in love with food, and opened a food truck in New York City with my brother, who's actually like a formally trained chef. So I had a good idea. He was able to produce all the food. And so we did that for a while. It was really great. Got out of that for a few reasons. This little production thing that got me into cameras. So I started doing photo shoots for working with an ad agency who had a food client. they had the whole reason I got into cameras is because I knew that people and companies needed to produce content every day, but having worked in an ad agency and in offices, like I know these people don't have studios, they don't have infrastructure to do these things, especially with food because it's a tricky thing to make look good. So I thought that was like an interesting sort of angle to approach. So I kind of picked up a camera, started taking photos and like staging photos for this brand Tribe Hummus. And then I would, like, thought I was pretty good at it, but I just had no idea like what aperture was or any sort of technical ability as it relates to a camera. So I kind of went to like YouTube University and figured it all out. Did like hundreds of photo shoots. Like I was on a month-to-month thing, doing like at least 10 photo shoots a month. And so I got better at it. And then video came along. That was like a big booming thing that was like happening in marketing. So I knew I needed to get on that. So I figured out how to edit a video. Kind of like applied all of the things that made me decent at photography to video, and just like worked on it and did more stuff. And over time, like I never had a defined style because I was always doing cooking videos for clients that wanted sort of like bland, kind of shitty work that I wasn't proud of. And so I did that for a while, and then I kind of got into this. And this has sort of been like the most fulfilling thing that I've done since starting a food truck. And what's kind of interesting is like it's very similar, like the idea of like handing somebody a sandwich and then them handing me money and being like, this is delicious. Like that was something I've really been like a void of in my life, that sort of satisfaction of like making something and then reaping an immediate like sort of benefit or reward from it in the form of like a sale or like a customer coming every day, stuff like that. That was like validation. Doing this and having people make a recipe or do something, make a video like you did about like inspired by a recipe that I made. That stuff is like just as fulfilling, and it's like something that I feel like is sort of filled a huge gap in my life that I sort of need. Like I sort of need to make something and put it into the world and see what people think of it, whether it's good or bad. And it's sort of been a great experience in that sense for me.
Right on. Well, that's your Cliff Notes version of your life so far. Very cool.
As short as I can make it.
Definitely. All right. So a couple other people I saw jump in the chat. Phil from Daddy Cooks, parts unknown.
Phil, what's up, buddy?
Phil. Phil is the godfather in this group. Ray Mack's another one of them guys that just been in the grind for years. So how you doing, Ray Mack? Big Ray in the house, cooking and grilling with AB, or smoking and grilling with AB's in there. Kirby's in there. I think we got a pretty good group. We got 24 watching right now. Steve, Cookout Coach, he's on. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button. Let's get this thing growing. All right, so you ready for the questions, the hard hitting?
Give me.
Bring it. All right, cool. So you said you're from New York. Whereabouts in New York are you from, or living now?
From Westchester. Had been living in the city for about 10 years, and right now I'm just outside the city, just north of the city in Westchester.
So where's Westchester at, like Brooklyn?
No, it's not. It's not part of the city. It's if there's Manhattan and then the Bronx, Westchester sits sort of right above it.
Okay, cool.
Outside of city limits.
All right. What is your, I hate to sound this bad, but what is your real job compared to YouTube? Like, what else do you do?
I have a production company.
Okay, cool.
Production shoots for brands, mainly in food, photo and video, and I don't like it. So that's why I'm trying to do this. I come from an advertising background, so I sort of realized that I was fighting against the shift that happened that I realized was happening, but I wasn't sort of accepting, which is like the old medium of advertising, the old way of doing things is just not working. It's dead. And brands, they don't want somebody like me who's just like, hey, I'll make it really great, blah, blah, blah. But then here you take it and you do something with it. and they're sort of left clueless as to what to do with it. They don't know, like the whole social media world for a company and a brand, especially a corporation, is very difficult to sort of manage and to be successful at. So I just figured that if I just did what I always thought was if I always did what I wanted to do in this world, and like what I thought and do, then maybe it's not such a tug of rope when you're dealing with a brand and trying to make an income and a living when it comes to like things like money and stuff like that, because I'm adding more value. I'm trying to add more value than just a guy who makes a video for you, because like I can see it. They'll take a video and they'll do something with it and nothing happens, because it's like, it doesn't matter how good the content is if they're not doing the right things to promote it or getting it in the right hands or spending the right amount of money, then it's not going to do anything for them. So the whole world of marketing is in sort of like a tornado right now, and the companies that have millions upon millions of dollars succeed, and the ones that don't have a hard time, especially in food. I found, because there are these like old established supermarket brands that are, a lot of them are family run, and a lot of them are like bought into like conglomerates. So it's a tough place to tough little landscape to sort of navigate. But I like what I'm doing. I've gotten some interest from brands. I like made some relationships, which is good, and that's sort of where I want to go.
Right on. Very cool, man. That seems like a whole lot more interesting than what I do on a daily basis. So that's very cool. All right. Who taught you how to cook? Have you had any formal training, or you just what you learned in the kitchen taught yourself?
No one taught me how to cook. I remember just always being sort of fascinated by food, but in a very subconscious way until like I hit my 20s. I started a food blog when I was like right out of college, when I was working in advertising and hating my life. I started this blog called The Food Freak, which was like just me like on my like cooking journey, like learning how to cook and taking like step-by-step photos of everything that I did. Because the whole thing is like I'm so visual, and like recipes and cookbooks and all that kind of stuff sort of like annoyed me because they just felt so lazily written and didn't have any photos. Like, how are you supposed to make something if you have no visual cue and you're talking basically a different language to me? It's like it didn't make sense to me. So if I was going to like show people what I'm doing in my kitchen, then I want them to see every step of the way. So I like would have like 50 to 100 photos, like using a nice Canon camera of the whole cooking process. And I use that to kind of like get good at cooking and build a platform that I wanted to start the food truck for. So like obviously the food truck ended up being called Food Freaks. I was trying to build this brand around that idea. And so like I did it for about a year and then started the food truck. And then the food truck was its own education, because we were like, we would get busy. We weren't super busy like every day, because we weren't a truck. We were actually like a hitched vehicle, like a cart, like a 6x8 box essentially. And so we would be mainly parked inside in a park in Brooklyn. That's where we started, and there just wasn't enough traffic there. So we just sort of learned to just do whatever we had to do to survive. So we would do every festival we could, like Electric Zoo, Governor's Ball, all of the festivals and street fairs. We got into like the Deutsche Bank building, the Citigroup building, and like made a deal where we just like served them lunch once a week in their cafeteria, like as like a little pop-up shop. We would do like I'd wake up sometimes at like 1 a.m. to go to work to do a film shoot. We'd do film shoot catering, and just like the whole production, we would cater breakfast, lunch, and craft services. And so we were just like doing whatever we could, everything and anything, and still just like managing to scrape by, because we started with like no money essentially. But like doing all of that, we were in the shits all the time. We were just like in a box trying to feed hundreds of people. And and it was always a challenge. And we worked outside of the truck a lot, like just producing catering, like doing catering and stuff like that. So, hold on, close this out. We were doing catering and all of that kind of stuff. So I got an education I was working with chefs. So I basically was figuring it out. And, over years upon years of just being around food and working around it and cooking, my brother was but it took years to figure out how to do everything I wanted to do. So I just did it. I just always cooked, and cooking is like one of my favorite things to do. If I'll get invited to a barbecue and I'll cook I'll be like the guy who cooks the whole barbecue for everybody, and they'll come up to me and they'll say like, "Are you okay? Like, you look." I'll just be in the zone, and they'll be worried that I'm not like happy. But like at that point, like that's like the only moment where like I'm just not thinking about anything, but watching the fire and the flames and flipping and turning, and just like that's peaceful to me. And I can understand how some people might mistake that, but like that's what I love to do.
Yeah, for sure. I get that completely. I think you'll see most of these channels that we are in charge of the cooking when it's time for a party or a barbecue. Like we're having a party here on Saturday, and I'll probably be cooking the whole time, even though it's for me, right? So I feel the best when I'm doing the cooking. I have under control, so I get it completely.
And it's also that like that's me reliving that food truck feeling, right, of feeding people.
Yeah.
And I don't really get often that much. So whenever I have an opportunity, I jump on it.
Yeah, it's nice to have people that really enjoy what you're doing and enjoy the food and appreciate what you do for them too. So that's huge. All right, that's a good answer there, man. So there's a little softball for you. What does a weekday meal consist of in your house?
Oh, geez. Well, if it's in the summer right now, I'm just throwing everything on the grill, and I'll take a steak, throw it on the grill, marinate. Maybe I'll marinate it. I'm just obsessed with rice too, so I'll probably make rice. But my favorite go-to meal would be chicken cutlets, roasted broccoli. Have you ever had that Goya, Spanish yellow rice?
Yeah.
That shit is like my favorite rice for some reason. Like it's the thing my mom always made, and I just can't stop. I cannot make it. Like I cannot make that myself. So it's just this meal. It's like that three things. I'll pour Frank's Red Hot on the chicken cutlets, and to me, like that's perfect dinner.
Right on. Sounds good to me. Being that you've had that food cart truck, whatever you call it, what is the largest amount of people you've ever cooked for?
Probably Governor's Ball. I mean, we rented a Pat LaFreda. It wasn't like one of theirs, but it was like probably like a retired truck that we could rent. But it was like a Pat LaFreda meat refrigerated truck that we filled up with food, and we would serve a festival of 30,000 people among many other vendors over the course of a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11 in the morning to 9 at night. And we would do a like Electric Zoo, which is electric dance festival. And my God, like these people were so like that one you don't make any money off of because everyone going to those things is on drugs, and like you don't eat when you're like tripping on whatever drug you're on. So like that, all people would come order one was watermelon juice and water. It was the only thing we sold. And like I was later in the day when people are like dying, they had to eat something. But like Governor's Ball, we served so many Brussels sprouts, so many grilled cheeses. It was insane. But I don't remember how many people that was. But there's photos on my Instagram of like the lines that were there, and like those lines were like sustained for many hours.
You were hustling the whole time, huh?
Oh God, it's brutal because you're in the summer heat too.
Oh, good Lord.
There's no shade, and the only shade is inside your food truck, which is also 110 degrees.
Of course.
but it was great. I mean, like as hard as those days were, the truck, man. I mean, I would work 15, 17-hour days like regularly, and like after a few years, and you're not making like a significantly or an incrementally more like a better salary. It's just you can't justify doing it. And this New York City was just not a good place to do it. Like these regulate New York City tried to ban salt at one point. Like
Really?
like people in the government thought they know best about food, that particular subject, because people complain about being unhealthy. So their solution was to ban salt. Like like so it was just like the people those people ended up like changing the size regulations of our cart, or like what cart sizes were legal, and ours didn't qualify because we had a wheel well that stuck outside of our cart. So like that left us in sort of like that posed a problem that we couldn't get around without spending a lot of money. So we closed it.
All right, cool. All right, so we got a few more people in the chat. I see Mr. Mega Fred Zeppelin, so I'm gonna throw out his question in a minute. Scott from In the For the Grill, he showed up. Scott's usually our co-host, but he's driving right now, so he'll be on once he gets his dental work in order. Meathead said I didn't shout him out, but I did. So what's up, Meathead? Nigel's on.
Meathead, nice.
Cooking with Tovia in there. Tipsy Walk, Ian in. He's had some questions for you. You got a meathead knife right there. It's good stuff. Mike from Everyday Barbecue's on. So I think we got everybody in there. We got 27 people watching. That's exciting. I saw Mrs. CJ was on there earlier. She said hi. So I think that's about it. If I'm missing anybody. Okay, since Mega Fred's on, and I was told that we have to ask his question early because he goes to bed early. So, what's your favorite music, your bands, etc.?
My favorite music and bands. Well, obviously the Beatles are one of them. You guys saw the video the other day. Everyone commented on the shirt. I love the Beatles. I love old music. Part of the reason why I love the music I listen that's in my videos is because it's got like an older feel but a modern sort of beat to it. So like I love Motown. I love all that 50s Frank Sinatra.
Sinatra's my hero.
I love all of that stuff, but I also love there's a new band right now that I'm listening to that's very similar to a lot of the music I listen to or I play in the videos, called Caravan Palace. I listen to a lot of SoundCloud stuff because I'm always trying to score.
Looking for that non-copyright music.
Yeah. And I listen to everything short of country. And I just cannot get into country. There are a few songs I like, but I don't know. I can't do it. But
it's all right. Not everybody's perfect, all right? All right, cool.
There's just I'm such a music guy, like it's really hard for me to say like who my favorite band is. You name it, I probably can find some appreciation in that artist.
Yeah, I feel you completely, man. I enjoy country music, but on the other hand, I listen to the Rat Pack era and I'll listen to 90s R&B because that's what the high school dances, doing the kid and play and all that, so
90s music has a special place in my heart for sure.
For sure. All right, cool. Well, Mega Fred, I didn't forget you. Chris, you thought I would. I got copious notes. We're good. All right, so what is your most memorable cooking fail?
Oh, my most memorable cooking fail? Like what? Ruining a dish?
Yeah, say you had a bunch of people over and you were cooking for everybody and something didn't turn out right, or you were trying to impress a young lady, it didn't work out right.
The other night, I was actually barbecuing for the 4th of July at a friend's party, and they had a new Weber grill, and I had like, we just got all this meat, like chicken thighs, steaks, all this stuff, and I was grilling it, and there was so many chicken thighs, and I was doing barbecue chicken thighs, and I sear it, and the heat was so hot on the one side, and then I wanted to put it onto the indirect side, and so like I piled all this chicken up after it's like kind of seared onto the indirect side, and then the fire was sort of dimming down, so I seared the steaks, and then I was gonna put the lid on, but I didn't, and just started thinking I could just cook the steaks like in the center of it. And like it was, some of the pieces were bad, and I was just like fucking so embarrassed. But it was just like, you know, when you have a lot of people there and like you're the only one cooking, and you're like, I was like alone outside cooking, and like seeing all these people inside, and it's like getting late, and I'm like, shit, I gotta get this food out. And it's just like that pressure sometimes throws you, like makes you do something against your better judgment. But you know, like no big fails. You mean, like I'll oversalt things sometimes or undersalt things, and I'll know when I did it, and I just get super annoyed. But that's part of the process. You just keep learning.
Definitely.
Always taste. Don't walk away. I'm thinking of doing a whole video on like what it means to cook with love, and like I think the whole thing behind it is like not fucking walking away. Like pay attention. Like be there. Like when you think of a grandma, and you think of why her food is so good, it's because she never leaves the kitchen. She's just always there monitoring. She's checking things at all times, just making sure things are good. And like to me, that's what I feel like cooking with love actually means.
Okay, now we're gonna go into your channel questions. How did you get started on YouTube? What brought you to this platform? I know you kind of briefly touched on it earlier, but
well, I was sort of going through like a thing, you know. I was going through like a thing in life. So
that's how I got started too.
So and in that I was like, it's just reevaluating things, and I'd always wanted to do this, but I was, believe it or not, like I'm like comfortable behind camera and very uncomfortable in front of camera. Like I would never imagine myself doing what I'm doing, simply because like I just hate hearing myself talk. I hate being on camera. Everything I do now, I basically always hated, in like my head at least. And so I just basically one day, and it's sort of evident based off of like my very first videos, like one day, like I read Gary Vaynerchuk's latest book. I don't know if you know him or not. But that sort of kind of kicked my butt and was just like, all right, let's just do this. And I was like, what am I going to do? Let's do some cutting videos. So I went to the store, bought a bunch of different vegetables that were hard to cut, and set up a camera. Like I literally had no idea. I was just like, what angles? I did that camera angle, like the dead on. I was just like, set it up, tried to get it like counter level, and then plopped another camera to the side that I thought I would use slow motion with because it's a better angle. And then I just shot it. I just didn't even think about it. You know what I mean? I just put my headphones in, because like I was using music to sort of just like motivate me, to get me going, to like be productive in days. And I just made these shot these 5 how-to videos on cutting vegetables. And like I edited one right away, released it, and the next day I edited another one. And like I was like, in my mind, I was gonna do daily cooking videos. I was like, I'll really show them if I produce and do a daily food video. And like seriously, like that idea was like funny to entertain, but obviously as one person doing this, like it's not possible. And so like, but I'd like loved getting a video out. Like the feeling of getting a video out was the best feeling, especially at that point in my life. So I wanted to do it as often as I could. Whenever I wasn't doing it, like I felt bad. So so I just like kind of pushed myself, and then I was like, I got done with those videos. Like I shot once and I made 5 videos out of it. So So I was like, I ran out of footage, and I was like, I got to do another thing. So I just came up with another idea and kept rolling with it. And naturally, all of the things that sort of evolved into what is now the format of my show were never like premeditated. It was just this filmmaking mentality of like, how can I use motion, or how can I showcase this in a better way? It's like I'm cognizant of how my hands move when I'm touching something on food, knowing that a slow motion camera is shooting everything from my side, and that like what might look cool. You know what I mean? Like I'm just thinking like that, and over time, like all of these fast forward and slow motions and rewinds and all of those things, I realized like actually like were kind of complementary to what I was doing, and like looked good and made sense. So all of that kind of stuff developed the style, and like as it kind of grew and people liked it and I got more feedback, I felt like this responsibility, like, okay, like now people are watching. Like you've always wanted this, Steve. Like you've always wanted people to be watching this kind of stuff. So you can't just like shit the bed and, you know, get lazy and not make a video this week. Like you get this like sort of imperative was set. And so I was doing one video a week, and I was growing, but I wasn't growing as fast as I wanted to. Like I wanted to grow with like I want to grow fast for sure, but like and probably in an unrealistic pace. But that is what I need in my head at least to keep going and to like keep up momentum. And so I decided to do a second video a week, and then kind of build up in the live streams, and then over time it just became like an obsession. And at this point I'm sort of obsessed with it, and I'm sort of determining to what level, like an unhealthy level, or and trying to manage that best I can.
Okay, cool. Real quick, we got a couple more people in the house. I just wanted to give them a little shout out. Vaughn from JV Barbecues in there. Miss Booger showed up. Nice to see Miss Booger on there. Booger and Christy's cooking channel. We've been pushing to get both of them ladies on this thing, so hopefully we can do that soon. I'm figuring bribing is the only way that's going to make it happen. And we got Josh and Babe on. Josh and Babe will be our guest next week, so it's good to see there. Sorry, everybody, that I can't get onto the chat and answer everybody's question. Kent is writing down your questions. Once I get through a couple more of my own questions, we'll let Kent jump in there, and then we'll go from there. All right.
Cool.
So I'm with you about wanting to grow your channel as fast as possible. I'm just as impatient. I want to grow too. I'm out there hustling like crazy too. So how long have you had your channel?
My first video, I believe, posted February 11th or February 14th, one of those two dates. Yeah.
Can't block that fucking guy. Just get him out of there. Sorry, we have a joker in the midst. So talk about your cameras, your lighting, anything special you use that you that we don't know about.
Well, so this is my main shooter. This is a Sony A7S II. It's sitting on a tripod that I don't use for when I shoot videos. That's all downstairs. This is something I use when I'm outside, or I just need to shoot a quick video. I use this today for some reason. It's got a Rode Video Pro mic, Video Pro Plus mic on top. And this is, you know, I have Sony and Cameron. I like both of them. I'm not like a loyal camera guy, like a brand loyal camera guy. But for some reason, like I prefer this camera to do that head-on shot. It has autofocus where I have a Canon 5D Mark III. This guy doesn't have like a continuous autofocus in video, but it shoots I think a better slow motion. So I have, these are the two guys that do all of the heavy lifting in my videos. And I also put this remote flash trigger on this guy because this is also what I would use for any photo shoot. So part of who I am as a photographer, and I'm trying to make the show 100% like me in every way. So and it's like part of the show is like to keep all of my skills, the 3 skill sets that I value the most, fresh and always getting better and like always kind of improving, which is cooking, photography, and video. Thing where it's like I got to do like this quick photo shoot where I set up a mini mock studio in my kitchen amid all of the nonsense of a video production, a video set that is going on, and bang out a nice photo that I'm going to use as a cover, as a thumbnail. So I have this guy and then a remote, an off-camera flash connected to a clamp that I can stick on my counter that I face away from it against a white foam core board to create like a natural window light in my kitchen where there's no light. And I know people are always asking me like, do you really turn off all the lights when you shoot the photo? And yeah, because like I'm sitting here and I have like the lights that I use in my video, which is a Westcott ice light, and then this other just like round LED light. And then I have like these tungsten yellow lamps and bulbs, like this yellow lamp. And when you mix the two, it like you can see right here on the screen, there's a white kind of light, and then you have yellow light back here. And for what I'm doing in like a video or like a photograph, those colors don't blend well with each other. So I want to control the type of light that's in my photograph by sort of cutting out all artificial light to start, and then being able to adjust that one light where I need it to be to make it look like a window is shining light onto the board and whatever I'm shooting. So that's why I shut off all the lights, and you can only really do that if you have a powerful enough flashlight, strobe light to kind of recreate the window. But it's just like any sort of even like probably those like cheap Asian, sorry Tipsy if you're watching, those cheap Asian flash.
Sorry. You can see Kit in the chat too. He's dying.
Asian external flashes are really good, and they could kind of create the same sort of effect if you wanted to do something like that. I know thumbnails are important in YouTube, and
for sure.
All work in kitchens, and we don't have studios, and a lot of people aren't photographers. So for me, like I'm not trying to create fancy stuff. I'm using foam core boards and what I have to make the best of it. What's that? What are you thinking back there?
That's so funny, dude. Okay. Meathead texted me and said he may not be on this for the whole thing. So he did have a question for you that actually didn't have to do with their knife behind you. He asked, do you do yoga? You seem to be very flexible, and you jump up on the counter and get low. You're moving around a lot. So he asked if you do yoga.
Yoga is torture to me. I've done Pilates, and it was like wasn't really real Pilates. It was like a person who knew how to do Pilates who like incorporated it into a workout. And I love that because my body is fucked. I played football in high school, and like I have subluxated shoulders, like they pop out of their sockets all the time, and it's like excruciating pain. I have hip bursitis. I'm like truly an old man. So like the fact that he called me flexible is like makes me feel good about myself because I'm like the Tin Man. I feel like the Tin Man. I'm not that old.
Well, Kent and I both feel your pain. We're both old sufferers too. When I was 30 also, I was getting out of bed, everything cracking, my neck's jacked up, broke every finger in my hand, the knees hurt. I blew out my shoulder in college. We got it.
Absolutely.
All right, Kit, you got a couple questions to throw in there?
Oh, I got a list for him now.
Oh, let's fire rapid fire him real quick.
All right. This is from our former host, Chris Hobo Nickel. How versed in barbecue do you think you are, Steve?
How what?
How versed, how experienced, how versed in barbecue?
Oh, I mean, I'll tell you, I've actually smoked meat no more than like 8 or 10 times in my grilling. I'm pretty well versed in, but like smoking and as far as barbecue, I'm in learning mode. I'm like literally watching all your guys' channels. Um, I'm I'm trying to just figure it out, and I'm learning that it's all about just like it's time and heat and how you can adjust the two and kind of play with that. Like that is how you learn how to barbecue. And so I'm just trying to do it as much as I can. Like it's like anything else. It's like how I'm trying to say, if you just if you practice your knife skills, cutting an onion will be like how I can make it look on a video rather than like very difficult. It's just practice. You know what I mean? So just like anything else, like I intend to practice barbecue. And I was telling you earlier, like I want to get good enough to the point where like I'm confident enough to want to compete and then put together some sort of YouTube barbecue competition team and just make videos doing YouTube competitions like occasionally for the channel. But yeah, I mean, I'm just open to learn, and I just think that there's so many things, so many ways of barbecuing. Like I just got the pit barrel, the pit barrel cooker, and that just like is a whole nother like opens up a whole nother door for me. So I'm just excited to be doing it. I'm excited it's summer, and summer comes and goes quick here in New York, so I'm trying to make the best of it.
Hold up real quick, King. I saw Phil from Daddy Cooks. He's like, you should try jumping out of airplanes for 17 years. Phil, we got a huge respect for you, brother. I don't see a good idea jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
You look like little boys compared to Phil. Really.
Oh, Phil, dude. Phil, you're the man, dude. I want you on my side. Oh, and then I saw Snoopy Eats 408's on there. What's up, Snoop?
What's up, Snoopy?
Join us. It's very cool. Booger wants you to get an air fryer because that's what she rolls with. All right, Kent, go ahead. Jump in there, bud.
All right. Nigel asks, what's the type of food you serve on your food truck, and what is the most popular?
Well, when I had my food truck, it was a grilled cheese food truck. It was a grilled cheese cart. We had a very tight menu. It was like we had one regular kind of grilled cheese that was like a special blend of cheeses that we made with real cheeses to emulate the taste of or like the feel of American cheese. And we served that with a little cup of tomato soup dip. We had this one that my brother made. Like my brother and I kind of made half the menu. I made the simpler things. I made the regular. He and I helped do the regular grilled cheese. This one vegetarian version, which was like a shaved carrot and zucchini salad inside of a grilled cheese, and then a chicken parm grilled cheese with a chicken cutlet dipped in tomato sauce with mozzarella and basil on some white bread. My brother made this one fucking ridiculous sandwich, which was braised short ribs, and we just like we would like recycle this braising liquid as often as we could. It was braised short ribs with Gruyere cheese, blackberry jam, pickled red onions, and watercress on sourdough. And like the blackberry jam would sort of like seep through the bread and sort of like caramelize on the other side as it cooks. And the combination sounds crazy. And some people were like, that's disgusting. Like, I won't try that. Other people were like, it was great. It sounds great. Let me try it. But like everyone ended up loving it. And between that and our fried Brussels sprouts, which was our side item, which were like deep fried, quartered Brussels sprouts, fried at like 325 until they're like, they get this like deep forest green, brownish kind of color when they get crispy. And then we would take them out, drop them in a bowl, season them with salt, white pepper, and then agave nectar. And we had moms that would come to our cart, and I would see them like with their stroller, like reluctant, like angrily stop and frustratingly say to me, like, I can't shut my kid up without your Brussels sprouts. That fucking did it. I was like,
awesome,
that was like the best thing that I could have heard, because kids don't eat Brussels sprouts. You know what I mean? Like, that's all. Like, nobody eats Brussels
Oh
sprouts.
shit! I won't touch them now. Shit.
Oh yeah. So and this was like 8 years ago, 6 or 8 years ago. So like Brussels sprouts hadn't really been the trendy thing yet. And my brother figured it out. He was working in restaurants and claims that he dropped one in the fryer accidentally, or one fell in, and he just waited for it to finish cooking, and it was fucking delicious. So that was it. And those two things were that's why I wanted to do this like thing where I bring food, the recipes back, and have them live on the internet, is because like I miss them. Like, I ate them every day. I ate those sandwiches for lunch every day and never got tired of them. And like, I wanted to make a business that I thought was amazing. You know what I mean? It was like, if I can make it good enough where I want to eat the shit every day, then I kind of feel confident that other people might like it. So yeah, like, I miss it. I want that stuff to live on, because I felt like that was a short-lived thing. And I had, fucking diners, drive-ins, and dives called me 3 months after I closed it.
Oh man.
So like, there's like a bitterness around it, and I was like, I hadn't really felt complete until I started the show as like a redemption for that really not working out as I planned.
Right on. Kid, you got more?
Oh yeah, I got a lot more, but we wouldn't have him on the show if he would have got on Triple D. Meathead wants to know, how many licenses did it take for you to be able to open your food truck?
Well, besides like a food service license for the vendors personally, we went through the New York City is interesting, because like, they don't issue medallions or permits for food trucks, or they don't issue any additional ones. The way that people generally get them is through the black market, which is like somebody who's a retired food truck owner, or like a halal cart or a hot dog cart, who's selling his permit to me. He's renting it to me. I'm paying him money for it, and I can plop the sticker on my truck or cart or whatever. We didn't want to do that, or I didn't want to do that. That's a very expensive route. I mean, we're talking like $20,000 for the permit. And so we found another route, which was like the Parks Department. New York City Parks Departments were issuing permits for vendors to, like, this was right when food trucks were like a beginning craze. So the Parks Department wanted to jump on it, contract vendors to sell around the parks around New York City. So we saw that as an opportunity to get in that way legally. And so that's what we did. And, we put together a business proposal. We made a brand and designed everything and a menu and sent it to the Parks Department, and they gave it to us. So then I quit my job, and we got the money, and we went for it. It was great.
Right on. All right. Kent, I'm gonna cut you for a minute, and then I'll jump on a couple of my questions. I see we got Tango Joe in there. Phil and Florence just showed up. Scott from Real Show. I think I've covered everybody in the chat. I hope everybody's doing great tonight. Let's talk about. Here's one we could mess with and have some fun with. It is, if Hollywood were to make a movie about you and your channel, who would you want to play you? Now, my thought process is Ryan Gosling. I answered the own question for you, but go for it.
You know what? That's a pretty perfect question. Pretty perfect response. I get a lot. I get Jon Snow a lot. That and Andy Samberg. I'm not too keen on Andy Samberg. I'll take Jon Snow any day, but Ryan Gosling is king. So I'll say Ryan Gosling.
I say we dye his hair a little bit.
Dye his hair a little bit. It's going to be like a body transformation, one of those body transformation roles where he's like got to completely transform into like a better looking person. But He'll be able to do it.
That's funny. All right, cool. With your channel, what is one piece of advice that you've learned in your small time doing this year? What would you give to new creators out there to better themselves or better their channels?
I think for me, like one of the things that I focus on, and it's something that like sometimes I'll think of an idea and it's like a big idea and it like fucking overwhelms me, and like we talk ourselves out of doing things so easily, right? So for me, I don't think I could do this if my concept wasn't super simple, right? Like I'm not talking about too much. I'm taking one thing and I want to show you how to make that one thing well. And so like for me, it's figure out the thing that is simple enough for you to do at least one time a week, but preferably more times, as many times as you can. The thing you can do the most often, that you can sustain doing, that you love doing, that I think is what I think sometimes people will kind of go overboard with ideas, and reining it in might be a better solution than trying to make it more complicated. I mean, I'm an Italian guy. The way that I cook is very Italian influenced, simplicity. And when I was running a food truck, and some of these like lines that you keep running through your head, like KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
Like, in my life, I've always heard simplicity. Be it simple, do it simple. And so, like, to me, it's just like ingrained in my head. Like when I want to do maybe like, let's do how to cut 4 different vegetables in a video. It's like, no, idiot, do one video on one vegetable and do it well, and then do another video with the other one. Don't get overwhelmed with trying to do too much with yourself, and do what you can manage and start there. That seems to be like a good place, at least for me, to sort of start, and then just try and always improve, learn, watch other people, find inspiration in everything. Like even for my videos now, I'll watch movies with an intent of learning how I can take a thing I saw there and somehow implement it into what I do. It's having your eyes open. You know what I mean? Just be open to learning and seeing. Like if you want to make videos, like think of yourself as a director. Like be Steven Spielberg. Like pretend you are that until you get there, and like it'll work.
Right on. Very good. I've noticed going watch. I've been binge watched all your stuff when I first got on. I just love your productions. Like I said, just how long does it take for you to edit one of your videos? Because you got different angles, different stop starts, slow motion, regular fast motion, whatever. How long does it take to say your watermelon juice video? How long did it take to edit that one?
Well, I actually like intended to make that one like easier. Like this week was tough with the 4th of July, and I wanted to do 2 videos and all this stuff, and I was away this weekend, so I wanted to make that video easier. It actually didn't end up being that easy to do, but it probably takes on average, if I'm on fire, like if I'm like rolling, totally focused and like just feeling it, I could probably produce a video in like 6 or 8 hours, but usually it takes 10 to 13 because like doing these things, like I don't have a format, I don't have an opening like animation or graphic. Like I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I don't know how to do animations. Like literally, like I'm very traditional editor in the sense that like I will cut footage and arrange them and maybe play with speed, but like I don't do much else outside of that. And so just like it's just like trying to figure out each video and like what the thing is for each one. That takes time sometimes. Sometimes the opening 30 seconds of the video takes me 3 or 4 hours, and then the next half of the rest of the video take 2.5 hours. Sometimes it's the opposite. I find though that like I'm getting faster at it because I've developed a format. So like in my head, I know what I'm shooting for, whether it's for montage, opening montage, or you know, I just know in my head how to align it. And having done, I've almost done what, like 40 of them now. So like it's becoming very very second nature to me when I get all my footage in the editing software. Like, okay, I'm starting here. I'm finding faster ways of like doing the things that I was doing 3 weeks ago, but doing them faster and a better way to do it. So I'm hoping to shave time off of 13 hours, but I mean, like I'll stay up till 1 in the morning if it's Monday and I want to get the video out by Tuesday at 8 a.m. You know, I'll work until it's done. And hey, you know, it's worth it, you know.
All right, cool. Kent, why don't you go ahead and fire off a couple questions from your list, okay?
All right. Kenneth, what's new barbecue?
Kenneth. What's up, buddy?
When are you going to try out for Chopped?
Oh. See, Chopped is like, that's a fear of mine because I don't think quick. Like this idea that they're going to give me a box of what, like cow balls and, you know, my brother was on Chopped. He got this thing called Coco Donato. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Like a gelatinized coconut water that doesn't like break down or something. You know, get a box of these things and then be on live television and have producers like manipulate me to like do things that I know are against my better judgment. Like I get really nervous about that because like right now, especially coming from right now, it's like I have complete control over every aspect of what I'm doing. So I get nervous. I mean, they like made my brother a villain on the show. Essentially, if you ever want to watch it, it's episode 100. I think it's called episode. The name of the episode is called 1 in 100, I think. And it's interesting. And he should have won, but the guy who did win was a good guy. And you know, my brother did a couple of stupid things. Had a couple of stupid things that might have gotten him chopped, but he made a really good effort. But I might do it. I've thought about doing it. I don't know, man. I also know that it's like a 9-hour shoot. And then, you know, when they like talk about all of the, like when they're cutting during the show, they have the contestants like talking about what they're doing. Like that's a 3-hour post-shoot interview. And like that alone is like, sounds like my own hell. And so like I'm trying to sort of, I don't know. It's a possibility. If I get enough pressure, maybe I'll try. I certainly know that I could, like I know so many people who've gone through it and like so many production people probably that I would be able to get on it. But right now it's like me not wanting, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. So I don't know, Kenneth. Stay on my ass.
What you said that the producers manipulated the process. What does that mean? What are you talking about?
Reality, they kept telling my brother, drink the vodka before you use it. And like my brother drank the vodka before he used it. And then he got chopped because all the judges you'll see on the show, they're like, did you see Dave drink the vodka and like all this stuff? Meanwhile, I'll watch Iron Chef and these guys are like sticking their food in the soup and sucking on that finger. You know what I mean? Like it's such bullshit and it's like all staged. Like I've seen literally the judges who are criticizing these people for doing these things like licking your finger or like putting a spoon back in, and they've done it on television themselves. So like I don't know. The producers want television. They want drama. They don't want have my head down making a meal, banging out a meal. They want me to be a ridiculous person and
trip or cut yourself or knock somebody else down or some shit like that.
Yeah. And I would kind of walk in there being like, you know, I shouldn't even be here. Like I'm probably going to lose, but you know, we'll see what happens.
Right on. All right, real quick, Ken, got a couple more people in the chat I want to recognize. Mike Montoya, I saw James from Aiming and Claiming. What up, James? How you doing, brother? KC, I saw you on there. Kenneth, I saw you on there. You jump out there. Obviously, we got your questions, so that's good. Evan Eats Toronto. I don't know. Nice to meet you. I haven't seen you on here before. Good to see you. I think that's everybody that's jumped on that I could see. Kent, go ahead and throw your next question at him.
All right, I got a few sitting back here. So
All right, rapid fire. Let's go.
all right, Lewis at our Shack Barbecue wants to know: is there any grilling or barbecuing restrictions in New York for you to use charcoal or wood versus propane electric?
No, not to my knowledge. I've never heard of any restrictions like that, actually.
That's good.
Is that a common thing elsewhere?
We see that in apartments here.
Yeah,
Like,
apartments are a thing. I could use an electric grill in a New York City apartment, but I could not use gas or charcoal. But outside of in residential areas outside of the city, it's no problem.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, Tipsy Walk wants to know when you are going to give him his free lessons that he so well deserves on lighting.
On lighting, Tipsy, we got to get you hooked up with proper lighting. I don't know what you're using. I know you have a big softbox in there, but I don't know what's in it. But it's really, lighting is, you can get by with like cheapo like DIY lighting and all that kind of stuff, but like this light, I can stick this light behind the stove, right? So I can, if like the stove's back here, I can stick this light and then put a camera to the side, and then it literally looks like there's a window behind the stove, sort of shining natural light onto my set. So you have I learned about lighting by placing light places and then seeing how it affects whatever you're shooting. And I know, like with food in particular, if you're shooting a photograph or even video, like backlit and side lit food is really nice. Never try and have direct overhead lighting. Just think about, like, if you have a bright sunny window and you put a plate on a table next to it and you took a photo of it, it would look really beautiful with a nice camera or even with a phone. And if you think about why that's happening, is because you have this huge light source that is coming in from the side. And whenever I'm thinking about lighting, I'm literally just trying to recreate best I can any sort of any sort of similar kind of lighting scenario to a natural light. And so like I just play around, and the set sort of has like, if you notice, like my slow motion shots, there's always that light behind it, right above it, that is kind of backlighting the shot, which is what I'm going for. So it's like you have to sort of be strategic in how you set up your lights. And if you can invest in better lights, like this light I think is like $600, but it is a good quality light. It's a good it has a strong color index, which means like it's how close it is to natural light, and it's adjustable and it's portable, and I can bring this wherever I need to go, whether it's for work or for the show, and it's just like, it's super convenient. So I'm always thinking like, I want quality, I don't want to spend a lot, but I also don't want it to be huge. So I'm like thinking about all of those things when I'm searching for new lights and trying to find, like, I spend a lot of time on Amazon and B&H, like looking and searching for the right thing. There's hundreds of options for all of this stuff, but you just want to find the right thing for you. And that's just sort of what happens over time. You sort of stumble upon it. But I'll help you out. We'll figure something out with your lighting. You have a new kitchen now. It looks like you have good natural light. So I don't know. We got to talk about that.
All right, you want me to keep going there, CJ?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Soul Food Cooking wants to know, what is the one dish your friends ask you to cook for them the most often?
Oh God, my friends like don't ask me to cook for them. I'm like asking to cook for them. I don't know. I mean, there isn't one thing that people ask. There isn't like a thing people request. If anything, it might be chicken cutlets. Like I've gotten the request for chicken cutlets probably more than anything, but it's not like a common thing. It's just more of like the idea that like people will know that like if I'm gonna cook, like I'm gonna do it and like care about it. I'm gonna like actually pay attention and like you can be assured that there'll be some aspect of like love and care when I'm preparing it. And that's what I want people to feel like comfortable. I want people to, when you go someplace and you're like, you see somebody cooking and you sort of like are not comfortable, it's, you can't be out at a party or something like that. Like, I want people to just feel comfortable. If they know I'm cooking, like, I don't want them to be like, idolize me in any way, but I just want them to be like, oh, Steve's doing it. Like, okay, cool. No problem.
All right, one more, Kate.
All right. Actually, I got two left, and I think one, well, they'll both probably be quick. Josh and Babe want to know, how long have you been editing videos?
I will tell you, I picked up a camera for the first time really in 2014. And I quickly did photography for probably 2 years. So 2016, I picked up video and studied video before really making anything. I studied YouTubers. I studied like just how to make movies, how to tell stories. That was what I was really into, and got it clients. I started pitching it to my clients and trying to get more video work. I would do it super cheap too because like I knew I wasn't very good at it, but kept doing it and got better and found my style. And so I guess at this point, what is it, 2018? So a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3 years, I've been video editing.
Okay. One last question. Eric at Roundhouse Ranch Barbecue wants to know, who is your favorite celebrity chef?
Oh, my favorite celebrity chef. It's a good question. I like David Chang. He's not like, I guess he's a celebrity chef. You mean like on TV who does recipes? Um, that's a hard one. I really loved Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
I thought like he added value to the food world in a really tangible way, and absolutely terrible what happened, but he was up there. Like I loved him. I read his books. His books were so good. Like I recall, there's this one chapter in a book where he's talking about Le Bernardin, which is like maybe the best fish restaurant in New York City, and he's talking about the fish butcher. And like this story is so incredible. I think they even like there's a video on the internet about like a shortened abbreviated version of it. But if you can, buy the book medium raw and read the whole book, but like look out for this chapter about the Le Bernardin fish butcher. And it's like one of the most memorable chapters of a book I've ever read. So he's up there. I would say since he passed, I'll give him that title.
Oh, fair enough. Kent, you good?
Yeah, I'm caught up, brother.
All right, good. Okay, just kind of your home cooking questions here. What is your favorite thing to cook?
Oh, I'm probably gonna make rigatoni and meatballs.
Oh, sounds wonderful. See, we both have the Italian background. My grandma. Have you ever had cioppino? My grandma made just an awesome cioppino.
No, I never made cioppino, but like I know about it, and it sounds amazing. If like you got the right seafood, like that whole idea of cioppino is what's interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't actually allowed to enjoy the dish until I was 16. Like they would not let me come to the house for cioppino until I really appreciated the seafood, the
Yeah,
effort it took to make the whole bit.
that's actually smart. Like in terms of kids, like not letting a kid try something they know they'll like at a young age and be like, you want to appreciate it now.
Exactly.
You're
Because
old.
the way my grandma made it was a lot of shellfish. You know, she didn't put regular fish in it. It was just shellfish, like crab, lobster, whatever. So it became really expensive.
Yeah.
So, but as we got older and before she passed away, um, we would actually, like me and my brothers would get money together, go to the store, buy everything, and like, all right, grandma, go. Nona, let's do this.
Yeah.
So, I remember the good time. I want to do it for my one of my cooking videos, but it just seems like a little too much. It's a process. It's a long, involved process.
The idea of doing it with like crab legs and like more shellfish than regular fish seems really in my head right now. It sounds really delicious.
Oh yeah, we get you get cracky. You need to have the bib on. You
Like,
have 4 different loaves of crusty bread, and you just dip in, slurping, going. It's such an awesome thing.
Are crab legs usually in it?
Yeah, the way I've seen it, even when I've seen it on like the Travel Channel shows, they've had crab legs in it, but they've also put like salmon or a whitefish in there. When my grandmother made it, it was mussels, it was crab, shrimp, and lobster, and just
like
go
that.
to town. And she made individual ramekins of it. It was freaking awesome. So anyway, Christy's cooking channel. She has one. What is the best thing and the worst thing you've ever made?
The best thing. Oh, geez, man, these questions are hard.
That's why we don't send them out before we go on. That make you think.
Oh, geez. The worst thing that I ever made. I mean, I used to make really bad, terrible stuff when I was starting out. Like, like you think you're good at cooking when you first start. Like, you're like, yeah, I watch the Food Network, bro. Like, I can figure this out. And so you like jump past basics to complicated bullshit, and you're not good at it, right? So every time I tried to make something, I tried to smoke barbecue. I tried to do a pulled pork before I had like this was in like college. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and it came out awful. Like it wasn't. You couldn't even pull it apart, and it was just like I had no idea what I was doing with the heat and controlling the fire, and like that was pathetic. I will say though, like I'm really good at Italian food. Like that's what I would say is my specialty. Pasta. If like if you're gonna learn anything from me on this show, it's gonna be how to make interesting, unique pastas. And like that's just sort of like that speaks to me. A bowl of pasta that's like pure love. It's like extracted love in a bowl.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned like, you watch the Food Network, you know how to cook, blah, blah, blah. I grew up on the Food Network too. I watched Emeril Lagasse back in the day, and
water.
Yeah, and how to boil water, exactly. And for me, I used to just say, if you can read instructions, you know how to cook. But truly, it's more than that. You got to have a little bit of savvy. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have a feel, a little touch, and it's not just reading instructions. You gotta practice, like you said.
Exactly. It's like for me, cooking is like it's full-blown sensory experience, right?
Sure.
Part of the reason why like when the music and all the stuff that I use and the editing, everything's fast and it sort of hits you in the face is because like my cooking experience, like with the food truck and everything like that, it's chaotic. Like that's the experience that cooking is for me. It's not necessarily serene and calming or like outwardly seemingly calm, a calm activity. It's chaotic and it's crazy. It's like a controlled chaos. And when you're feeding dinner and when you're cooking dinner and you've got things on the stove and you're playing like a game of timing and you're trying to get everything ready at this, it's that's like that's a rush. And so like you're using all of your senses. And so like that's sort of what I wanted the show to convey is like you got to wake up. If you're going to cook this show, if you want to watch me just like make yourself like casually and passively like food. Like, no, like I'm trying to get deep into the shit and like really get nitty gritty around this stuff and like think about it and like be present and open your eyes and be in that kitchen and smell it and feel it and touch it and taste it and like be there. And like that's what cooking is like just it being in the moment. And I think that's what a lot of people mistake. What do you feel on that?
Sorry, I'm filling my glass here. It's pulling you away from the screen. I'm with you on the cooking thing. Cheers, everybody. Sorry. I feel the same way about the cooking. It may be hectic, may be chaotic, but it lets you focus.
Yeah.
It makes you forget about all the bullshit, forget about the work, the bills, the family, whatever. You're just cooking, you're having a good time. So I'm with you completely on that.
In that chaos, somehow you can find like a serenity,
right?
Which is pretty incredible.
All right. So you said the best thing. What's the worst thing?
Oh, the worst.
Did we lose you there?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking.
Oh, okay, cool.
God, I don't know. I like blank out the worst things. I made barbecue like one of the first times I was making barbecue. I got these like barbecue ribs, and I don't know what I was thinking, but like I poured like a bowl of like 50% kosher salt, 50% black pepper together, blended it together, and then applied it to the ribs like a fucking generous like salt rub, like a dry rub. And I just like wasn't thinking. I was on vacation, and like what I realized is like I just literally like cured it in salt and smoked it. And then like it was done, waited 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever it was to take it, and I'm biting it, and it's like all of the moisture in my body is being like drawn out because of how much salt is on this thing. And I was just like so embarrassed and so upset in myself. And that was definitely the worst thing I'd cooked in years. 100%. But man, it's hard to recall the worst thing you've cooked because like you're
out of your head.
Stuff.
All right. Okay. Your signature dish, we got that with your pasta. What is your guilty food pleasure? What do you really just gotta have?
Oh, I love like I like the whole idea of like cooking, eating healthy and stuff like that. Like I'm totally on board with. Like I think food, like eating real food and all of that kind of stuff is super important, and you should be eating that 90% of the time. Right. But like, I got like a party-sized
in my
office. You know what I mean? Like it's not regular size; it's party-sized double stuff, right? So I don't play around. Like my guilty pleasures, I love like In-N-Out burgers and Shake Shack. Like I find myself.
Wait, let me stop you. What's better? In-N-Out or Shake Shack?
I'll tell you right now. I love Shake Shack. Amazing burger, amazing chicken. The best fried chicken sandwich you've had that they sell. It's incredible.
I'm waiting for the butt. But
In-N-Out.
There you go.
Hands down a better burger. Shake Shack fries totally destroy. If you took In-N-Out burger and then you put it with Shake Shack French fries, you are in like the ultimate burger restaurant ever conceivable. You could not make a better burger restaurant if that was the combination, but unfortunately that's not the case. If you want to get In-N-Out, you have to eat the French fries immediately.
Right away.
If you're taking them to go and you're driving home, the move is to eat the French fries on the drive home, get to the burgers later. Those fries, I don't know what they do to them, but like they're really good right out of the fryer, and then like the fall off of quality is like insane how fast it falls off. And that's my problem. But the burgers,
for sure.
salivate.
I grew up, obviously, I'm a Southern California boy. Josh just put it in the thing. We have them all over the joint. They've gone as far west as, I think, obviously, Nevada. I don't want to hear anybody from Texas saying Whataburger. Oh, James, of course.
No, no,
I
no.
knew we have some Texas boys watching. They love their Whataburger. I had it. It was a burger. Whatever. I went to Dallas before. I tried the Whataburger.
They have In-N-Out now, so I don't know. Like,
Has it gone that far? All right.
yeah, I think there's one in Texas, or a couple in Texas.
Right. All right, that's cool. All right, so I saw you drinking a Corona. What is your go-to drink? Is it Corona, or what kind of booze are you drinking over there?
Well, if I'm out to dinner at a place I trust, I'm ordering a dirty martini on the rocks, Tito's extra dirty, no olives.
No olive.
8 olives.
I think the Tito's will go well with James from Inman Claimon.
Yeah, Texas vodka, right?
Yeah, I think he's sponsored by Tito's or something. But I see it on his channel all the time. They're always talking about it. So I love Tito's too. It's big. It's big everywhere.
Tito's just kind of blew up out of nowhere.
Cool.
But yeah, other than that, I know you like your fruity drinks. I love them too. My go-to is pineapple and vodka. Tito's and I'm a vodka guy. I like vodka.
Yeah, vodka. Yeah.
Not big into tequila. I like wine, but it makes me so tired, so I don't drink it that often. And then wheat beer, Red Stripe, and Corona, and that's like the world that I play in. I don't go too far outside of that.
Well, I tell you what, along the lines of fruity beer or drinks, this beer I've been drinking are the cider, this Ace pineapple cider. It's what I was drinking when we were talking earlier.
The can? It's a can?
No, it's a bottle. Here, I'll put it up on front of the deal. This is what I know it's backwards, but I've been drinking this like freaking, like if I was having Pepsis. I love this stuff. So I don't like to drink while I eat. So this is the only, like, even beers and pizza, whatever, I'd rather just have a soda with it. But I'll drink this cider with anything. I mean, I love it. So yeah, I see in the chat, James is sponsored by Tito. So
cider, it's this thing that kind of popped up, and like they're all delicious. Like, yeah, you go into restaurants and there's like these interesting cider bottles that you can order, and like they taste like beer, and it tastes like delicious apple juice.
Right, like the Angry Orchard's big out here, and it's half the time it's more APV than a regular beer anyway. So, and of course I love my fruity drinks. It's funny. I don't care. Like, I know I'm a big guy, tattoos. Look, I'm ready to. I'll knock anybody out, whatever.
We're past the day
with an umbrella and some fruit, and I'm a happy guy.
Yeah, we're past the day where you can judge a man by what he drinks.
Definitely. I saw. I think it's KB wish me a happy birthday. I guess it's July 6th where he's at. So hey, appreciate it. All right, let's go. Dude, I appreciate you hanging this long. We're almost at an hour and a half. I still got plenty of questions. We still got plenty of viewers in the thing, so we're gonna keep going as long as you're cool. So are you cool?
20, good. Yeah, I'm good, man.
All right, let's go. All right, so here's one that Chris used to ask when it was pee break. I don't have to pee, so I'm gonna listen to the whole thing. 3 channels you watch: one big, one one medium size, and one small, one big, and one you think should be bigger. I hope I got that right.
Okay. One small. I mean, oh God, I have to pick one. Or can I just be like? It's hard because there's so many that I'm watching every channel. I'm trying to watch as many videos every day. Every morning I wake up, watch as many videos as I can before I get started. I mean, one of the guys that I'm watching the most, who's a big channel right now, is Dan Mace, who is the guy that Casey Neistat works with, and This guy is. If you think I'm good at editing, go watch this guy, and then you'll realize how bad I really am.
Oh,
I
stop.
am I am a fraud. I'm like I don't know anything about editing compared to so many people, and I know that. And this guy is one of them. And this guy pours his heart into his videos, and he cannot keep a schedule because he puts so much time into them and just waits till they're perfect. And he's such a creative mind that I watch him religiously, and he's somebody to check out. A smaller channel that I watch, like
Feel free to say mine. Yeah, that's cool.
CJ. I watch CJ. I watch all you guys' channels. There's one guy who I think I really like what he does. Is Anti-Chef. This guy that I was telling you about. He's like this just this Canadian kid who I don't think he even has any cooking experience whatsoever. He's a regular dude, home cook, and he's pretty good at editing. And he's like I'm gonna try to make the hardest on the fuku recipe or Christina Toast, and he shows the process and he fucks it up a lot, but he'll show the fuck up and then he'll fix it, and he's just like it's a good story. Like he knows how to pull you in and kind of like control your emotions, and he does a really good job. And he's a smaller channel that I really like. Somebody who should be bigger, shit. I think CJ. I think cooking with CJ should be bigger.
I agree. Damn it.
I think cooking with CJ should be like Guy Fieri level, but you know,
Shit.
I think we're tired of Guy Fieri. We need CJ.
I don't have the hair for it.
Doesn't matter.
I'm
He
gonna
doesn't
have to
have-
do one of them things.
He doesn't have the hair for it either. Let me tell you.
Yeah, true. Oh my gosh! All right, that was funny. I saw Daryl from Bad Beast get on there. What's good, brother? How you doing? Good to see you, Chris Hobo. If you have a minute and you're in front of your computer, can you grab the links for Anti-Chef and Dan Mace? How do you spell his last name?
Mace. He's not a food guy, by the way.
No. All right, but he just has some good editing that we could probably learn.
Food people?
Huh?
Does it have to be food people, or is it just
No,
food?
not at all. Not at all. It could be anybody who you think.
Yeah.
So, Chris, if you got a minute and you can do it, go ahead. If not, I'll look for it and I'll put it in the replay. All right. All right. Here's a good one. If you could cook with anybody in history at any time, who would it be?
Oh wow. I could cook with anybody. Good question. I mean, at this point, it would have to be Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I figured you'd probably say that too, because
Watching him talk about food and like be a food show host, he is the best. He was the best. So, and he was a food philosopher. Like he thought about things and how food related to people and culture, and like that is part of food. It's part of who we are. Like food is just not something we do every day. It's like a part of our cultures and our lives. And he was the best. So like there was somebody I was going to sit with a meal behind, sit around a meal with and cook, it would have to be him, especially now because he's sort of immortalized.
yeah, for sure. Chris wanted me to ask you, is Anti-Chef Jamie Tracy?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Chris. All right. Let's see. This is Meathead's question, and I don't know that he's on anymore. But who would be on your personal Mount Rushmore? Four peoples.
Oh God. Okay. Oh geez. Who do I love? Um, I wish I could have prepared for these fucking
That's how we get you.
these. Probably like all the people who come to my head are musicians instantly.
That's fine. Whoever you want to put in there.
Um,
There's really no right or wrong answer there, right?
but it's like that's such a definitive answer. Like I feel like that would say so much about me. Who I would put on my Mount Rushmore that I feel like it deems odd. Um, oh shit, 4 people, man. I can't even think of one. All right, we gotta come back to this.
All right, you think about it. Write it down. Think about it. I've got other questions. Nigel said you should put John Lennon on there because you're such a Beatles fan.
It wouldn't be. It would probably be Paul.
Paul.
John Lennon was good. Paul pretty much killed it every step of the way.
Nice.
John had some missteps. So.
How come Ringo don't get any love? Come on.
Ringo was the most underrated Beatle. Do you know Ringo never performed the same drum beat in any song they ever did. Every song was an entirely unique drum beat in every Beatles song.
That's
Nobody
great.
gets that. He had 3 drum. He had a snare drum, a kick drum, and like a little tom drum, and that's it, and like a cymbal. He had like no elaborate set, and he just was so good at the drums that he never repeated himself once. Incredible.
Hobo said Partridge Family was better, and you can't argue with that, really.
Partridge Family?
The Partridge Family was better. Wasn't the mom like super hot on that show? I don't remember.
I wasn't watching the Partridge Family.
That's before our time, right? Because I'm still young, like you. All right. So we'll get back to the you don't have to answer the Rushmore thing.
I like
Bobo says she was. That's right. All right. So what is one thing most people don't know about you?
I'm a little guy. I was the captain of my football team.
How little are you? Not to sound
5'8", 5'8", and like 100. Right now, I'm like 155 pounds.
Oh my goodness, you're just a little guy.
Yeah.
You were the captain. What'd you play? What position?
Running back and cornerback.
Cornerback, right on. I was a big D lineman. Kent was a big old offensive lineman, I'm sure. Big old ugly.
But I'm the prototypical underdog, right? Like beginning of the season, everyone would run to my side, and then end of the season, nobody ran to my side.
Right.
Because like it didn't matter that you were bigger. I was just gonna like make sure I wrapped up. I was technical.
Yeah.
Technically better than you, so I was going to like make up for my size differential and just tackle your ass. Nice. And then it was like that was the whole thing. It was like I love being an underdog. I like that. That is like my size. People will look at my size and just be like, "Oh, and I'm genuinely shy when you meet me." So like people don't even like think about me necessarily. So like I like being like that. I like being under the radar. Then it can just come up and sneak up on you.
Right on.
You know, that's like a better place for me to operate.
Right on. Kent was a big old offensive lineman. He just maul you. There's no technical there. He'd just kill them all.
Well, I'm just wondering if he's such an underdog, why is he wearing a Superman shirt and not an underdog shirt?
Really an underdog when you think about it.
I was thinking more like Mighty Mouse, but hey, you know.
Oh, see.
This doesn't mean Superman. It means Steve.
Steve. All right. Bad Beast Barbecue. Daryl from Bad Beast Barbecue jumped on. He put a question in there, and I don't know. We kind of touched on it, but Steve said his drink of choice was a dirty martini with Tito's, no olives. So there you go, Daryl. I see a little Black Label behind you. You enjoy a little whiskey here and there?
I do like it. I like Balvenie. I like Johnny Walker.
I like a little Johnny Blue.
Yeah. But like I like a glass of it. It's just like that stuff hits. I'm a lightweight, man. Shit hits me hard. So I like to have a drink. I like to, I like to have one strong drink. You know what I mean? Like that to me is nice. like I can't drink like 3 martinis. I can't drink 4 glasses of scotch. Like I'll get knocked out. So
I see Tess and Suburban Barbecue jumped in. Tess cooks for you, Suburban Barbecue. Welcome, guys. Appreciate you showing up. It's good times. We are over an hour and a half into this thing, still going strong. Still got plenty of questions. So, Steve, you're still good. We're going to keep rolling, okay?
Sure.
All right. Any special skills?
Any special skills? I mean, all of my special skills are pretty much like public domain. I try to only focus on what I'm good at and not do any of the things that I'm bad at. Special skills, man.
Wrapping up on your tackles?
Wrapping up on my tackles, yeah. I do have a knack. I'm very clumsy. I have a knack for hurting myself. What else? I'm really good at putting together grills wrong. Like I'll like read the instructions, memories, and putting together IKEA furniture.
Oh.
I'll put that together in record speed.
IKEA furniture is the devil.
It is.
All right, cool.
That is what they call meatballs.
Nice. Hey, the meatballs aren't that bad.
I'm not a fan.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna go. I'm done with my list of questions here. I'm gonna go to the Facebook questions that we put on. Kent, go ahead and run through the chat and see if you have any more. Ryan Amy, I don't know if that's his last name or his wife's name. Do you really jump on your counter, turn the lights off, and take those pictures? The lighting looks too good for just a flash.
Yeah, it's just a flash, like I was saying earlier. That's how powerful those lights are. And when you're dealing with photography, the reason why sunlight is such a sought after source of light when you're dealing with video or photography, just it's the most powerful light source like in history, and that creates the best quality of light. And so like that's sort of what it is. And I just totally lost my train of thought. Why was I talking about this?
If you really jump on your table and turn off all the lights.
Yeah. So so like those lights, the light that I got, it's probably cost, oh God, $200 to $300. Let me see, Canon Speedlight. I'll tell you right now, it's the one that I have is $249, and that quality of light is enough to blow out like that bounced off. That light is being bounced off of a large white foam core board to replicate what a window would do, and that could be done for $240. It doesn't need to be like this $1,000 studio photography lighting setup. If you just get that, and then you have this wireless flash trigger, right? So you have a piece on your camera and then a piece that sits under your flash. You can then trigger the flash remotely wherever you are, so that you can position the light strategically to how you want to create, like whatever sort of lighting that you want to create. So that's all I do. It takes one light. That's it. No other lights, and you can get it done.
Right on. Okay. Tipsy Walk put on there. When did you go through a Skrillex phase with your hair?
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I thought Skrillex had like long curly hair.
His hair off. Maybe he was mentioning that when I got a haircut, because I do kind of like shave the side of my head, but I don't know. That's like it's a little insulting.
Hey, Skrillex is dope, man.
I'm gonna take you up with that. Take that up with you after this.
Might have to have a conversation with him about that.
Take it back.
All right. Eric at Roundhouse Ranch Barbecue. He asked, where did you learn your videography skills? You kind of went over that with YouTube University and stuff like that. So
I mean, basically, it's just doing it.
yeah,
Like, that's the big, like, shoot a video and try to edit it a specific way. Like, find somebody you like and try to make the video like that. And like, don't just push yourself to do something creative. And that's it.
all right. Chris Nico said, when did this become men on films from In Living Color? Well, listen, Chris, I hated it. You get 2 snaps in the Z formation. Oh, don't get me started on Living Color. I love that shit.
What was your favorite In Living Color sketch?
I know, right? All right. Christy from Christy's Cooking Channel. Has anyone told you you look like Eli Roth? I don't know who Eli Roth is.
I don't know who that is either.
All right,
But
cool.
No, I forgot that.
No one's told you that. All right. Steve from Cookout Coach, he asked, what was it like running a food truck? I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit. You want to just briefly, like, it was hectic, not hectic, whatever.
I mean, okay. So when I first started, there's this thing called commissaries, right? The place that you legally have to rent or figure out to park your cart at night and cook your food, because like you can't just cook, you can't just prepare food in your food truck. Like there's some sort of codes. You needed a commercial kitchen that then like supplied your food. And so we were in one where it's like 50% food trucks, like modern food trucks, people like me trying to do my thing, and then 50% like New York City halal carts and hot dog carts. And this place was like the most disgusting place in the world. Like my first image when we got there was like this Indian dude on an empty milk carton box. It was flipped upside down. He had a piece of plywood over it, and the fucking dude is just chopping onions on it. Was sitting like Indian style or like on another box in like a parking lot, and like this is the world of like street food. Like a lot of these people are every morning I'll see them like filling up their like old squirt bottles with water and then shaking them, and then like their sauces sit in their carts overnight unrefrigerated. Like this place was like a nightmare, and so like we had to work in this environment, and like I'm pretty sure I'm inoculated from sickness because of that experience. And how that place was, because I don't get sick very often, and this was the single dirtiest working environment you can imagine, and like the whole experience was really brutal. Like it was hard to endure like a few years of this, because it was like we would wake up, get to work. We would have to rush to get the cart out before lunch because like traffic is crazy everywhere in Brooklyn and the city. Open the doors, get everything heated, serve lunch, and then kind of fall off into this like period of like not busy until like dinner time, and then bring the cart back to the commissary. I would every day clean the cart, scrub it, I would shine it, polish it, and like brand new every day, like at night for like 2 hours after we worked all day. And like that was what life was like. And aside from how amazing it was to make somebody a sandwich and then serve it to them and then have them like be like, wow, this is incredible, thank you so much. Like it was so brutal. Anybody who has like some dream of starting a food truck, I would very much advise against it, because you have to really know what you're getting yourself into, and you have to know that you can handle it. Like I would have handled it and I would have endured, but like I stopped it because I knew I didn't want to do that and I wouldn't be happy. And like it is like you're subservient to it, and all of the things I wanted to do that I thought I was good at, like marketing and creating content and doing stuff like that, I couldn't do because I simply had to I had to produce food every day. And like feed people, and like everything else about the business kind of fall off to the side. And then it was just constantly like we started with we opened the door with like $500 left out of our startup capital, so we never had any cushion, and we would have to endure winters in New York City, and those are brutal, and those are like people are not eating food outside when it's 28 degrees and snows on the ground. You can't even get your card out. Even if you can get your card out, you can't serve because your pipes are frozen. And so like it was just brutal, and we would have to figure out ways to survive. And like if that's the type of life that you want, then I'd say go start a food truck. But it is not fun. I mean, it is exhilarating and it is fun, but it is not an easy life. Not glamorous. It is a brutal grind. If you think YouTube is a grind, start a food truck, and then you'll like YouTube is like retirement. You know what I mean? Like that's how hard it is. It is like heat. Like if our vent, we would serve in Central Park, be busy, and if our vent died, our hood over our griddle, the temperature would skyrocket to 120 degrees inside. And we would serve on iPads. So we would have our POS system was on iPads. Those would overheat, so the fucking internet is out. And then it's just like everything goes wrong. And like everything is always going wrong when your business is literally always moving. There's no one place to it. It just moves all the time. Things break. Just like maintenance on the cart was a pain in the ass. It's just not. There's a reason, at least in New York, why you don't see a lot of food trucks anymore. It's just not. It's not the place for it to happen. It's not the place for food trucks. Not conducive. It's not a conducive place for it. And you know, it's hard. It's a hard life.
All right. Well, I was digging through Google and I found Eli Roth. So let's see if we can get that focus. No, that doesn't look right.
All I see is hair, and
I know. He isn't showing up right. There you go. You see him?
Oh, is that the guy from
Inglourious Bastards, I think?
Bastards? Yeah.
That's him.
Oh,
I can see it, I guess.
No, I don't like him.
No, we don't like him. We like Ryan Gosling better.
Gosling.
All right. Kent, jump on there. What do you got, brother?
I have one question left and this is from a while ago from Kirby's Fish and Grill. Have you ever tried the Brahma wheat beer?
Brahma wheat beer. No, I haven't, but I'm always looking for new wheat beers, and I'm down to try it. I've never heard of it though. How's it spelled?
BRAHMA. Brahma.
Oh, okay. No, I'll look out for it. I definitely will. I like UFO. I like yeah, that's it. Red Stripe and Corona.
I like Red Stripe too. I haven't had it in a long time, but we used to get quite a bit back in the day.
I don't even understand it, and the bottle's cool. It's the coolest bottle.
Yeah, the bottle is cool, definitely. Okay, guys, I'm at the end of my questions. So you guys got anybody left in the chat? You got 2 minutes to ask your question. Steve, you want to throw anything out there? Your last little remaining remarks?
Oh, I got a new video out today. I posted it. If you don't follow me on Instagram TV or in Instagram, go do that. I'm trying to figure out a new way of using this fucking thing that they just set up where they want to shoot vertical videos. So I tested something out yesterday. I did. It's actually the same thing as in the video I posted on YouTube. And so I just tested out this new concept where it's called IGTV Recipe R&D, where I'm basically, it's my way of easily producing a video shot strictly with my iPhone, quickly with minimal editing, not really an instructional video, but some way for me to produce content on Instagram TV that is me kind of testing a recipe or practicing something before I potentially make a video on it. So if you want to check that out, that's happening over on my Instagram. It's the Food Freak with 2 Ks because That's just a brilliant marketing move. And that's it. Yeah. Other than that, I'm just making videos every Tuesday and Thursday.
All right. Real quick, Evan Eats Toronto. Do you think it's worth it to focus on platforms and not your own growth as to cater for personal growth, stats or personal growth? What I guess basically, we know what YouTube can provide with as far as like AdSense and stuff like that, but what is IGTV going to provide for you? Just exposure, or do they do some kind of pay?
They are going to release a paid structure. They're going to be Instagram is going to be paying creators, because if you think about it, if they're playing against YouTube, like how do you get? They're asking. They have a tall order, right? They're asking people like us to produce videos in a different format than we do for any other channel. So they have to compel people to do it. If it's a pain in the ass for us and we're not doing it, and if creators aren't doing it, then they're not going to be successful. But obviously it's Instagram. People are going to be on it. It has potential to be a major player. And if they monetize, then they become a full-fledged competitor to YouTube. And I started this all by growing. I have a Twitter account, I have a YouTube page, I have an Instagram account, and a Facebook account. And my whole philosophy was like, I'm starting. Let's just grow them all. If I'm doing all 3 of them or all 4 of them, that means there's 3 times the chances that one of them will hit. And video is so important today that everyone will then like Facebook is going to be like a YouTube. They're figuring out a monetization strategy. Instagram's figuring out their monetization strategy. YouTube has theirs, and they're continuing to like change it apparently. So if you wanna, if your goal is to be in this as a career, then you can't be considering yourself as a YouTuber, right? That tells yourself like, I only play on YouTube, and if that's what you want to do, then fine. But if you want to build a brand, you have to build a brand across multiple channels, and you have to build them together. It's easier, right? It's easier to do that than just being like, focusing on YouTube and then being like, I'll start my Facebook page down the line because I just want to focus on YouTube. And then you're just like lazy and you just never get to it, right? Like I'm so much happier. I never wanted to do all these other channels, but I pushed myself to do it. And I'm happier today to know that I did it, and like I've been updating it all these months afterwards, and I have progress. And Instagram TV, who knew that would happen? But now that it happened, it's here, and now we have to do something about it. So like that's sort of my philosophy on it, was figure out. It's again comes down to simplicity, like I was saying it earlier. What is something I can do maybe once a week on Instagram TV that won't kill me, and figure that out, and then attack and do it. And that's just kind of like the way that I'm approaching these things now.
Right. I've been looking at the IGTV too, just trying to figure out how to work it in my filming setup, I guess you'd say, because like you said, you're using your iPhone, you got to do it vertically. So
yeah, it's totally different. And I mean, like in my videos, like I don't move. There's no camera motion, right? So like I'm trying to provide motion by me in frame, using the width of the frame to create like something visually entertaining to the eye. So like when you say make a video in this format, I'm like, it can barely fit in the frame. Like what am I supposed to do? So it's something, again, it's something you just do it, right? I've been making these videos. I've been thinking about what to do for Instagram TV. And then I was just like, hey, why don't I just make, it was 4th of July. And I was like, I'm going to be smoking this big ass thing for 10 hours or whatever it is. Like I got my phone, I'm chilling, get a tripod out, just film it and see what happens. Make a video. And what I was doing is I would record different shots and clips, check on my heat, make sure my heat was good, and then come upstairs, dump footage onto my computer and edit the footage that I had, and then keep doing that in batches until I was done, so that when I was done at like 10 o'clock, I was done cooking, I could dump the rest of the footage, get a video edited to release by like at least before midnight. I posted the IGTV at like 11:45 last night, and I felt like I was good. I felt it was a holiday. I produced a video. I published it. Like I could go to sleep happy today.
Right on. Well, I'm definitely looking into trying that too. That's it, guys. Steve, I can't thank you enough for coming on and being my first guest.
Oh, thank you so much, buddy.
I really appreciate it. I feel like we've gotten to know each other quite a bit. I'm glad you're part of the group here. Like we were talking about earlier before we came on, it's nice to see people from all walks of life come together just based on the food culture and learning and growing and wanting to help each other out. And there's no competition. Everybody's out for everybody else. We want to make sure everybody's excited and together and growing and all that stuff. So it was really great to have you on here. Guys, I'm going to put in the chat Google Hangouts link that if you want to come on and talk to me or to Steve, if he's going to hang on, Kent's going to be on there. I'm sure everybody's going to want to say hi. But that's it. We're going to go ahead and end this broadcast. I really, really appreciate you guys all coming on and supporting me for my first official hot seat. Next week, we have Josh and Babe TV on there. Josh is a great guy. He's a sheriff from Southern California, where I'm from. His girlfriend, Babe, her name's Bethany, actually. She's a great gal, too. Kind of reminds me of Mia and the missus. We have a lot of good stuff to plan to chat with him. He's got a lot of good stories, too. That's it. So stay tuned for next week. And whoever wants to come on to the Hangouts, make sure you click that link. And again, thanks a lot, Steve. I really appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, CJ. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Super appreciate all you guys.
All right. Take care, guys.